Good morning, everybody. We don't have a speaker in here, but I hope you can all hear me. Yes? So welcome. This is, I think, the biggest group that we've had so far. Yeah. Yes. We are going to get a bigger room. So don't be afraid that we are packed, because we're building out very soon, so you'll be able to still come to this address and have a bigger space. So bring your friends, because we love adding value to you. This is Top Floor Women. If you haven't been here in a while, we moved it a lot of times. And Angie and I carried this vision from Mindy Epstein that started this in Franklin. There's no speaker, but it's going into the... There you go. Yeah, I know. A+ in the class. So if you were familiar with Top Floor Women when we met at the elevator a long time ago, this is the same group, and we just want to add value to you. There is no membership for this group. We meet the first Wednesday every month from 8 to 9:30, and we have amazing speakers. And we also now, through Joe Ake Studios in the back, he records these so that we can have a professional recording, put it on YouTube, and you guys can enjoy the speakers if you cannot make it here for some reason. So we want to just invite you, if you'd like to be a speaker, if you have something to talk about that you'd like to share. We have so many things from these women in our community, so please don't hesitate. Go to topfloorwomen.org. Scroll all the way down the page. Okay. There's a lot on there. If you're sponsoring something in the community, send it to us, and we will put it on there for you so that you can post it and share it. We love helping you get the word out about what you are doing, too. All right? Couple of things. My company is Everyday Leaders. I have new business cards, which are fun. They're on the way out, and I'll hand you one if you don't have one. But I do coaching and training and consulting for businesses, lots of team building and retreats. So if you have something coming up, call me, because I'll make it really fun. She will. And I wanted to turn it over to Angie today. She is my partner in crime here and with Strive HR. So, Angie, take it away.
Has everybody received a ticket? I know we're doing a raffle for an awesome book here in just a little bit. If you did not get a ticket yet, raise your hand and we'll be sure and hand one of those over.
Do we fill this out?
No, you don't have to fill it out. Just keep one and put one in the bowl. Yes, so we're super excited to have all of you here. We meet the first Wednesday of every month at this location. Want you to definitely come back and encourage you to bring friends with you when you join us as well. And as Melanie mentioned, I own an organization called Strive HR. And next month, April 11th, right here in this very room, unless we exceed it, we might go to another room here in this facility. I'm going to be hosting a workshop. And if you happen to know of anyone that ever struggles to hire or keep people, which is probably everybody in this room, right? We're going to be talking about employee engagement at this workshop. And what we're going to really zone in on is how you leverage what you learn from your employees to get new employees in your door and keep the great employees that you have. So the workshop, as I mentioned, it's going to be here. It's on April 11th. Wasn't able to get something up there, but I can pass flyers around. I've got a QR code so that you can get registered and learn more information about the workshop. Now, you all are the first to know about it, and I'm giving a 20% discount for Top Floor Women. So you'll enter the code Top Floor when you get registered for that. So that's all I have. Would you like to take it over?
Okay, so who in this room is an introvert? Where are our extroverts? Okay, awesome. Extroverts are kind of sitting in right here.
I'm a situvert. Who can claim situvert? Depends on the situation if you're an introvert or an extrovert.
Yeah, okay. So why I say that is because we have a wonderful coffee sponsor today, and Amanda Mitchell, she's right over here. She does social media marketing, so we're going to talk about social media today with Erika. And I'm super excited because she's such a pro. And if you want to know about Facebook, Instagram, analytics, all of that, we're going to learn it. But before we get into Erika, I wanted to give just 2 seconds real quick to the girls here from Because One. They have an announcement that they'd like to share as well.
Okay, so I won't take much of anyone's time. My name is Stephanie. I'm with Because One. I'm here with my sister today. We're both owners with Because One, completely separate from the Because One platform today. We are helping one of the leadership Johnson County groups with their final project. So their final project is a night of appreciation for nonprofits, and part of that evening is getting these nonprofits a pamphlet or a booklet, directory, whatever you want to call it, of local businesses that are nonprofit friendly, who want to be listed for completely free. So there's no ask or commitment to be in the directory. It's just a matter of I need the contact person's name, business name, email and phone number, and then whatever category you would like. So a lot of times we can get all of that information from a business card. If you're interested in being listed for completely free, again, no commitment at all, you can either meet Stacia and I if you have any questions, or just pass your cards over. So that's all. Thank you.
All right, and without further ado, let's give our speaker a round of applause. I'm going to tell a little story as she's joining us. I met Erika. We were going to a mutual
luncheon.
friend. Carroll County Chamber of Commerce was hosting a women's luncheon a couple of years ago. And Julia Leahy is her name. She is awesome if you're ever in Carroll County. She was hosting an event and the governor was speaking, and so we were attending that luncheon. But in the car, on the way out of my driveway, she called and said, "Hey, the governor's sick. I need you to be the keynote."
True.
Yeah. So I was like, well, of course. So I had an hour and a half on the way, and I just put my notes together, and we had an awesome event. It was amazing.
Better.
But so Erika came up to me afterwards, and she said, "Hey, I'm from Greenwood. How do we not know each other?" And so anyway, she lived in Delphi. Her family's from Delphi. So you never know who you're going to meet at events. And so I want you to just think into what's your story? Who do you want to meet today? And meet them while you're here, because our relationship has changed dramatically.
Yes.
She sings at our church. She's always on stage, and she's getting ready to have her little baby. So thank you for coming.
Yes,
Thank you for
absolutely.
coming. All right,
Glad to
take
be
it away,
here.
girl.
Thank you. All right, well, I'm excited to be here. I've been attending off and on here. Gosh, I think it's been a little over a year. I was in Franklin kind of after COVID let up, and I think there was 7 or 8 people in the room, so this is really awesome to see, Melanie. You guys are doing awesome. But I'm excited to talk about social media, and this is kind of a topic that I think is a love-hate topic for a lot of people. I'm definitely not, Melanie said I'm an expert. Social media is ever changing. Anyone understand that? Especially if you're using it mostly for business. There's a lot of things that have changed. I've been building a business on social media solely for 8.5 years. And let me tell you, in 8.5 years, we've seen a lot of different transitions. So one thing I always say is no matter where you're starting at today, you're gonna be frustrated. It's just part of it. So just kind of ease into it, right? You're not gonna understand it perfectly just because you've attended a social media training or because you've hired a coach or done any of the things. And let me tell you, in the next 6 months, what I teach today might be completely different. But I think that you'll get a lot of principles today that you can start to implement immediately, whether it's building your personal brand, whether it's building your actual business, or whatever it is you want to do on social media. That is my goal for you guys today. So a little background, I am a full-time network marketer. I am not going to pitch you on my network marketing business today, don't worry. But, but I was able to build that to a 6-figure business in a few years solely on Facebook. The reason why I did that is I was working 60 hours a week. This was my side hustle when I got started. I didn't have the capacity to go build belly to belly like you traditionally do. I couldn't go do meetings and appointments and things like that. And so I took the principles of building that business and just took it all online. In that time frame, or in the last 7 years, this is what I've been able to do. Again, I'm definitely not perfect at any of this. We're going to talk today about both Facebook and Instagram. I'll have time for questions too, so I know there'll probably be a lot. But if you didn't know, they're 2 different platforms, and they should be used in 2 different ways, especially for your business. This is where a lot of people struggle because it's hard to build on 2 different platforms. It's hard to have content for 2 different platforms. Most of us don't have the capacity or the mentality. We don't want to do that. So I did it all on Facebook. I've just recently transitioned into Instagram, if I'm being completely honest, because of that reason. the idea of having 2 different types of content, creating all of that, it was just so overwhelming. So my piece of advice, especially if you're just getting started, is choose one. Which one do you like? How many are Facebook people? You guys are my people. How many are Instagram people? A few. You're young, right? How old are you? 24. See? No, I love Instagram, but it is a different beast. So we're gonna talk about both regardless. I find that Facebook, for me, is just easier to get into conversation, where Instagram, it's kind of like people just do a little like, right? It's hard to segue into that messenger, but it is doable. And we have people in our team, in our company, that are killing it on Instagram. So, word of warning, I want you to be like Sally, right? Be hopeful. This is mostly going to be something new, or you're probably going to learn some things that are new today. So just go into it with that open mindset, right? You're not gonna get it right the first time. You're gonna be bad before you're good and good before you're great. Frank is my husband. I mean, not really, his name's Jesse. But this was my husband several years ago. When we first started dating, he didn't even have social media. In fact, I had an iPhone, he had a Windows phone. I don't even think they make those anymore. And I said, you know, we need to start building things on social media. We had a brick and mortar gym. We were dabbling in nutrition, very just like, if you asked us about nutrition, we'd offer it, but we weren't advertising it. And I went to an event, and it was all about online marketing. If you guys have heard of ClickFunnels, kind of an older methodology. And I texted him from that event in Florida, and I said, we need to take nutrition online. And this man was like, we don't do online. So while I was in Florida, I set up an LLC, I set up a website domain, I did all the things, came up with a name, and I came home, and he was like, we're doing this. Within a week of launching our online nutrition program, we had a client from Taiwan. You're not gonna find clients like that by sticking to your network here, right? You've gotta branch out, and that's why online is really important. Now, Jesse, I say this because he was Frank, now he's building solely on social media when it comes to our online businesses. So it's just been kind of fun to watch that transition. So why I say that is no matter where you are, if you have the desire, if you want to go out and do this on social media, it is possible. So the top 2 places for social media, right? We could get into TikTok, we could get into YouTube, we could get into LinkedIn, all the other platforms. This is where we're gonna stay today, mainly because I don't build on any of those other platforms. In fact, I had a lady say, oh, I just binge watched all of your YouTubes. And I'm like, I have no idea what's on YouTube. That is really, really scary. So I have all the platforms. I would recommend being on all of them so that when people are only on those other ones, they can still find you. But pick 1, maybe 2 if you have the capacity, and go all in on those. And then once those become easy, habitual, consistent, then maybe branch out into a 3rd or a 4th. So the differences here, Facebook is lifestyle and personal. Can you still promote your business? Absolutely, and we'll talk about that. But it really should be getting people to know who you are. You've got to let people into your life, your personal life. And this is where people don't always love it. They just want to be business. But it's not going to go very well that way. 8 years ago, you could post business all day long. You would get customers. You would have people like messaging, commenting, sign me up. How do I do it? You can't do that anymore. And the biggest thing, I was talking to someone just a little bit ago, is COVID. COVID is good for social media and business because everyone kind of migrated to it. They had to. However, everyone migrated to it, and now everyone's selling something or promoting something on social media, and we are inundated every single day. And it's like, why are you any different than the next person? How are you standing out? We all have a product, we all have a service, we all have something that we're offering. Why am I going to purchase from you versus the next person? And it's really right here. It's letting them get to know who you are. Any real estate agents in the room? Yes, I love my realtors. What I see a lot of realtors do is just posting their houses. I have this for sale, or this one, or we're looking for this, or this. Or they post their wins, which is great, you should. But if that's all you post, who are you? Because I can go and put one post up and have 50 realtors comment, right? We just had a house in Florida that we had listed, and we decided to take it off. And when that expired, I had real estate agents calling my mother-in-law who is 83 in Michigan, calling my father's business. I don't know how they got these phone numbers because our listing expired and they wanted to grab it. So when I say this, I can go find a realtor anywhere. How are you different? How are we going to relate to each other? If you're posting that you have a dog, I'm going to be more inclined to come and look at what you've got going on because I love dogs, right? We can relate to some things. So let us into your personal life, into your lifestyle. When I say money is in the messenger, I mean you've got to get into messenger with people. You're going to build content that leads to those conversations in messenger, and then those conversations will eventually, hopefully, lead to conversions. And then on Instagram, this is where it gets a little bit different. Instagram should be all about branding. Yes, this is why I don't love Instagram. It's not your personal life. Your personal life can be a little part of your brand sometimes, right, depending on what you're doing. But this is where a lot of people get it wrong, and they'll just post their product or their services all over Instagram. What's the value? What's your brand? Who are you? What do you offer? So my Instagram, I'm just now transitioning. It's been all about nutrition, but now I'm telling you, I'm down this rabbit hole of natural unmedicated births. I'm doing a home birth. You guys can roll your eyes or you can laugh at me, whatever. But it's all about the nutrition for pre-pregnancy and post-pregnancy. And I'm transitioning, so it's going to take a while because I have to kind of rebuild my audience because it's always just been nutrition prior to this. So if you go to my Instagram, that's what you're going to find. Niche. Yes, what's your niche? And really, Instagram, it is all about the aesthetics, right? So we want it to be highly visual because it is just scrolling and looking at pictures or videos. Reels, anyone doing reels? Kind of, sort of, yeah. They're the #1 way to grow your network and grow your following on Instagram. It's still the #1 way to go viral, but here's why branding matters on Instagram. Because I have 2 French bulldogs. They're my children until this guy comes. I don't know how that's gonna work. But if I were to post reels of my French bulldogs, they're probably gonna go viral because people like dogs, they like French bulldogs. That has nothing to do with my brand, my offering. And so I would probably gain a ton of following of people who want to see more French bulldog stuff. And the second I post a pregnancy nutrition value, they're like, why am I following this person? Unfollow. And so while it's easy to go viral and things like that, it doesn't benefit you. And that's why you've got to differentiate the two. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing or a little bit like, yeah, I don't want to build on 2 different platforms, and that's okay. So just a couple demographics, and this is, just really to wrap your mind around if you're not using social media, why you should, because you have to go where the people are. Facebook is still higher than Instagram, but not by much, as far as how many active users there are. The gender and the age is important depending on your niche, right? If you start to know who your target audience is, this might help you develop which platform you really want to go all in on, or the type of content that you want to build. They're actually very similar. So it's not a huge difference. But again, unlimited potential. Because if I were to build a business just on my network in my area, I'm really limited to probably a 10-mile radius. There's a lot of people in Greenwood, but there's not that many people. I would have never had a client from Taiwan if I would have stuck to our brick and mortar gym building our nutrition business. Instagram, again, right there, it's not much different, a little bit younger age group, but not a huge difference. A little more female friendly. It's a higher learning curve than Facebook. So again, I do think a lot of people migrate to Facebook, but a lot of younger people are on Instagram. They prefer Instagram. In fact, I went to find someone the other day, I think he's 19 or 20. He's not on Facebook at all, doesn't even have an account. So you have to know your audience and who you're trying to reach as well, because if they're that younger crowd, you better figure out Instagram, right? This is where they're probably going to be. And again, it's a great way to extend your reach. I've seen a huge influx in my following recently with transitioning over into this nutrition space. It's kind of fun. I'm getting like pelvic floor therapists and people in my inbox. I had one yesterday that said, hey, I have a client that's pregnant. I'm not pregnant. What prenatal should I recommend for her? And I was like, okay, I'm going the right direction, or I feel like I'm going the right direction. So when you start to have kind of that following of the right people, you know you're doing the right thing over there. So we're gonna switch back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. I wanna teach you kind of how to set up your profile, why this is important, and then I'm gonna give you 2 systems that you guys can implement immediately to help to grow your network and to get in touch with people that are like you. So you're about me on Facebook. These are the 3 questions that you should ask as you're filling this out. What does it say about you? So it gives you this little like bio. You can put whatever you want here. It really doesn't matter. But it should be who you are, right? If you add me as a friend, the first thing that I do is I go to your profile. Is it worth, and this isn't about you as a human, okay? I want you to take that aside. But is it worth me connecting with you? The first time I go to your profile and all I see is you sharing all this other stuff, like, I'm not adding you. There's no value there for me, right? So you have to be choosy in who you're connecting with because you only have 5,000 spaces on Facebook. So what does it say about you? Can I contact you offline? And this is hard to show you, but on there it'll have my email address. I actually have my phone number on Facebook. That's completely up to you. In 11 years of having a business online, I've never had anything creepy happen that I've had to like block people on my cell phone. But even if you did, you can block them on your cell phone. So can they contact you on offline? And then lastly, this is a question that some people are like, well, that's kind of rude, but are you interesting? Why should I connect with you? Do you have something that I want? Do you have value that I'm going to gain, something from? Because that's really, truly what it's all about. So are you interesting? We'll dig into this a little bit more as we get going. Your cover photo and your profile photo are really, really important. Yes, Fiverr. I am not the best like content creator as far as actually creating all this stuff. You guys use your resources. Unless you like doing it, I use Fiverr for this. No, I use Canva for this. It's free. It's simple. Your cover photo, you have a little bit more leeway than your profile photo as far as what it should be. Right now, it's my husband, myself, and my dogs. I'm sure that'll transition in the next few months. But it can be your business. You can have your logo here. If you're like super into gardening or traveling, you can put something like that in the cover photo. It doesn't have to be pictures of you. Again, Fiverr, you can probably make something like this for $5, or they'll make it for you, and then Canva, you can figure out. Canva's pretty simple if you guys haven't used it. It has a lot of templates, so you can just plop your photos in there and you don't have to really worry about a whole lot. Your profile photo, you don't have much leeway. This should be a picture of you. It can be a picture of you and your spouse, you and your children, you and your animal, but it needs to be you. And I know there aren't men in this room, but if you're ever teaching this to anyone else besides Joe, sorry, you know what I mean. If you're a man, especially a single man, you really should put your significant other with you or your animal or your kid, because unfortunately, you go to add someone, especially a woman, we already have our walls up because social media is creepy. So that's the 2 cents there. But because you don't have to go do a photo shoot. This is an iPhone picture. Just grab your smartphone, get some good lighting, take a nice picture of yourself. You don't have to filter it. Don't do any of that stuff. Make it you. But again, who are you? I want to see your face. The other thing I don't have on my slides is across all the platforms, if possible, keep the same profile picture. Because people don't recognize names necessarily, but they'll recognize that picture. Like, oh, I think I saw her before on LinkedIn. So try to keep the same profile picture across all those platforms. And if your profile picture is like your cat, and you add me on Facebook, it's almost an automatic, I'm not adding you back. Because I want a person, I don't want to connect with a cat, right? I'd go to the animal shelter if I wanted to connect with a cat. So you guys need to make sure that you're doing these audits onto your own social media. That profile picture, I think I took that 2-3 years ago. It was in Dubai. So that's been my profile picture forever. You don't have to change it around, right? It's kind of like your license. I went to renew my license the other day, and she's like, oh, do you weigh 115? And I'm like, pretty sure I don't, but we can just leave that right on there. So it's the same thing here. But if you want to change it up, by all means do. And I'll tell you, when you do change it up, you get a lot of traction. So if you haven't in a while, you might want to update that. You will get a lot of comments and likes on new photos like that. Your profile on both Instagram and Facebook should be public, unless there's some reason that it can't be, right? I have a friend who her husband is like CIA level. She can't be public, it's just not allowed. You can still make certain posts public, and we'll talk about that. But unless something like that's holding you back, everything should be public. The reason why is you're connected with 5,000 people on Facebook, and that's it, right, at your max. If Paula shares something and I comment on it, she's going to probably connect with people in my network. That's just what Facebook does. It'll start to show her content to people that I'm connected with. So it's just a way to grow that following a little bit quicker. This is how you do that in case you don't know. Google's a great resource if you need help with that. So flipping over to Instagram, it's similar as far as setting it up. So you see I have the same profile picture. I just have a pink background on it because Instagram, I don't know, that's just kind of the content that I have. Your Instagram, like this part where it says my first name, this is what it should be. Should be your name. The second part should be a keyword that is searchable. So if you're a nutritionist, put that. This is old. I need to update because I've transitioned over into the nutrition space. But this would be searchable. If someone's searching for social media help, they may search that in Instagram. In fact, I've got clients before that searched for social media that found me and then hired me as a coach. So again, what the second part should be searchable. Underneath, where it says top earner, leader, speaker, this should be why they should follow you. So give them some info on what they're going to find in your Instagram. And this again goes back to why branding is important. Because if you have all of this, and then all you're sharing is French Bulldogs, well, I'm really confused on what you're actually giving me. So make sure that this is who you are, why you should follow me. Then, how can you help them? What content are you going to put out that I want to follow? Because at the end of the day, that's what social media is all about. What's in it for me? If I'm going to follow you, what am I going to get from you? So put that in there. And then lastly, where do I go for more? Right, so if you have like a free resource, if you have a website, whatever it is. If you don't have anything like that, that's something I would start to look at putting together, right? It might be for you like how to prepare your house to sell. You might just create a quick little guide, put that on there, and then grab my freebie here. Something simple, it doesn't have to be extravagant, but again, more value for them. The other thing I'll mention, guys, especially like on Instagram, you see here, this is a little bit old. I've grown this a tiny, tiny bit. I don't have a huge following. I've built a 6-figure network marketing business with less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. You don't have to have a huge following. It's about the quality. Now, obviously, we want to grow that, right? I want to reach more people. I've also gone back and forth with probably 4 different types of branding in the last 2 years, trying to figure out myself. So that's also part of that. And it is growing now, which tells me I'm on the right path. Same thing here with Instagram. We want to be public. So this is how you do that on Instagram. You just go under the account privacy. And the other thing is you want to be either a creator or a business profile. They're pretty much the same, but you don't want the personal profile. You don't get as many of the perks that Instagram gives you. I prefer creator, especially if you're doing reels and things like that. You just get more of the little fun stuff that they give you. Instagram is very much a platform that they want you to use the things they give you. So when they launch something new, even if you don't maybe get, like when reels came out, people are like, what is this? What is a reel? We were doing them even though they were horrible. Like I could probably find some fun ones. and we weren't branding anything. We were just doing reels. But when they launch something, even if it seems silly, try it. Just put it out there because they're gonna award you for doing that. That's just how Instagram works. Anytime there's new like stickers and polls and different things, use the stuff that they give you because again, they're gonna reward that. They're gonna show your profile off to more people. So an assignment you guys can do when you go home or sometime is to just go audit your profiles. Go look through all the things that the profile content, what does it look like? What does it say about you? If you're not sure, ask your husband. ask your significant, because they'll be blatantly honest. Like, nah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. It doesn't. My husband called me out the other day, actually, in first trimester. This was a fun one. He said, so your Instagram is all about, healthy, fit pregnancy, and I don't really think you're doing so much of that. And I was like, excuse me? And it was just this whole conversation, and what it boiled down to was I was very early in my pregnancy, and I was scared. I knew it was safe to work out. I knew it was safe to do all these things, but I was just like, kind of holding back. But he called me out. He said, well, you're saying all this stuff on your Instagram. Maybe you should follow what you're saying. They'll be blatantly honest if you ask them. So do an audit and just make sure you kind of have those things set up correctly. So we're going to transition into branding. And this is really your personal brand, right? So I know a lot of us are business owners or inside of different businesses. You should still be building your personal brand. You are not the business. You are not your company, right? You are a human. You have an identity outside of that. And when people can like you and who you are and what you have to offer, they're automatically going to say, well, what else do you have? What's your business? Wow, you're a realtor? I didn't know that. Let's talk about that. I might have a house for sale soon because they like you. So your personal branding gives you visibility. It drives people to your funnel, right? It gets you in front of more traffic. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, creating the content that leads to the conversation that ultimately leads to your conversions. When you're building your personal brand, this is kind of what it looks like. And this is a slow process. So phase 1 is really you doing all the work. Sending the outbound messaging. I mean, think about if you were to open a brick and mortar right now. Those of you that have, what did you do in the beginning? Door to door, mailers, advertisements, like you had to put yourself out there. This is the same thing on social media, except for it's an inbox. It's just getting to know people. It's building that relationship and that rapport. Phase 2, as you build your brand, you don't have to do that as much. You're still doing it, but now you're waking up to messages, asking questions, asking what you do or what you have. And then phase 3, you don't have time to send those outbound messages because you're just flooded. You've got a wait list. This is where we all want to be, right? It takes a lot of time, especially when it comes to social media. But if you can get the branding down, it'll go a lot faster. So there's a book called 1,000 True Fans. And in it, this is really what his whole idea is. When I mentioned that, I didn't have this huge following on Instagram because I don't need it. If you can get your 1,000 true fans, when you put things out, they're buying. They're in your inbox. They want to know about this sale you have going on or this promo or whatever it is. You don't need 10,000 of those people. I have a friend who, he's over in Dubai. It's actually why I was there a few years ago for a mastermind. And he has built such a brand and a following that when he puts out a book or a course or a mastermind, it's sold out almost immediately. Because he has that brand, he has that following. It takes time, right? He's been working on this for years and years and years. But ultimately, you want that, and I don't like this word, but you want that cult following. You want those fans that just love you no matter what you do. And what's really good about this is if you ever transition, you're going to take a lot of those people with you, right? So if you go into something else, a new passion, a new business, like my husband, someone's asked me what we do. Full-time network marketing. We used to own gyms. We do nutrition. We just opened a cigar lounge. Like, we're all over the place. But we're following our passions, and because we've built relationships and rapport, like, people want to know what we're doing. They want to be a part of what we're doing, and they will with you as well. So one of the ways to build your brand is to define it. So these are the questions that I want you to ask yourselves as you're figuring this out, meditating on all of this. What do you stand for? What can a follower expect from you? What will be your consistent message? And this is on Facebook and Instagram, right? Even though Facebook, you have a lot more leeway, it's a lot more personable, you still want to have a consistent message. You want to define your brand buckets. So I recommend 3 because I know we're all multifaceted, right? We all have tons and tons of passions. When my husband was really building one of our businesses, he kind of got upset with me. He's like, you don't ever promote this business. And I'm like, because it's a confusing message for my audience. In fact, I'll have people come and I love them, like, could you share this for me? And I have to tell them no. It doesn't align with my brand and it would confuse my audience. So you have to keep that in mind as you're building on social media. And that's why sharing content all the time, like other people's content, it's like, is this yours? Is this theirs? Like, why are you just sharing so many other things? So 3 is ideal. You'll be able to drip in your other passions, so don't worry about that. So for example, lifestyle, nutrition, faith, network marketing, right? This was kind of where I was a few years ago. These were my 3 brand buckets. They still stand true today. We're just kind of migrating the nutrition into more pregnancy. This is just some brain dumping. You guys can take a picture of this. You can go home, start like writing this out, start circling this. This is so little. So many of you have so many other passions and things that you can go off of. But what you want to do is really niche these down. These are pretty broad. I mean, even parenting, you could go so many directions with this. And the thing about building your personal brand is you really want to inch it down. And it sounds weird because, you know, I have an anti-aging company. Do I believe my product will help every human and mammal, every animal? Yes. That doesn't mean that I can attract every human, right? There's people out there that don't like me, that don't like you. It's okay, they're not your people. So niche it down and stand for something, right? When you're talking on social media with that question back there, what do you stand for? Don't be afraid to stand out because you're going to find the people that have the exact same beliefs as you. And how much easier is it to have a conversation with someone that's like you than someone that's not? And that's not to say that the other people won't come around, that they won't buy from you, that they won't, you know, order or join you. They will. But you don't necessarily need all those people either. You're trying to find those 1,000 true fans. So again, these are just some ideas, but you really want to narrow this down even further. And then when it comes to social media, it's really about building the quality content. This is the part, guys, I actually, I'll be completely honest, I have a virtual assistant for my Instagram. Not because I don't know what to put out there or what type of content to talk about. I don't enjoy making the shareables. It's not my forte. I don't know where you guys are in that place as far as hiring someone, but if you can do it, do it. It's so much easier. She posts for me 6 times a week, and my content is beautiful. So I can't take credit for my Instagram. My Facebook is my own. But I'm also telling her what to create, right? It's still everything I want. She's just making it look pretty. But be a good human. You can build quality content. You can have someone, you can go and have a VA do everything for you. If you're not a good human, it'll still shine through. The second you get into Messenger with someone, they're going to read right through it. So you still need to be that good human and actually stand and provide the value and stand behind it. I'm going to give you a game plan as we get going for the next 3, 6, 12 months to bring in quality leads. So no matter what it is that you're after, what business you're in, this is what we'll do. But again, you guys, you have to talk to people. If you have a business, you have to talk to people, right? Especially in network marketing. I love when people come, I just don't like people. I'm like, probably not the right business for you. Money is still in the messenger. You have to get there. You have to get them to the messenger. If people are commenting on your stuff, that's fantastic. You got to take it to the next step. You've got to segue them over and then get to know them and build that relationship. And then the last thing is you have to be consistent, right? If you're open, if you're starting to build on social media and you post today on Wednesday and then you don't post again for 2 weeks, it's kind of like, are you open, right? If I opened a Subway, or if you opened a Subway and I walked in today and you're open and it was good, and you know tomorrow I decided Subway sounds good again for lunch, but you're not open. I may try again on Friday, but if it's inconsistent, I'm out. I'm gonna go find the next Subway because they're a dime a dozen, right? I can go 3 blocks and find a second one. You have to be consistent. And I'll give you a methodology that is ideal. But when I tell people, when I coach people about consistency, it's what does consistency look like for you? If it's 1 post a day that you can maintain and stay with, that's your consistency. There isn't a perfect, if you don't do it this way, you're going to fail. No, you got to figure out what works for you. But I would say if you can't do, at least once a week or a few times a week, that might not be the platform for you. So what is content? It's everything. Everything you post, everything you do on social media. I used to, thank God Instagram doesn't make you do this anymore. This is how they wanted it to look not too long ago. They wanted this perfect, and it was so hard to keep up with, because let me tell you what, if you messed up one of these, then you had to figure out, okay, which one do I delete? How do I? It was not fun. And this is what I was doing all on my own. But anything you post, every reel, every story, every post, every shareable, every video, every single thing you do is content. There's actually a reel, if you guys watch reels like I do, there's the one that the background was like, everything is content, everything is content. Literally, all she was telling you to do is like, take pictures, video things. Like if you're in the nutrition space, video yourself making a recipe and just save it. You might not use it right away, but you have that for content down the road. So this is your content strategy. Again, figure out what you can do consistently, but ideally once a day when you're posting. Once a day on Facebook. It used to be 3 times a day, so you're welcome. Now it's quality over quantity. If you do post on Facebook more than once a day, I typically do 1 to 2 posts a day. Spread them out. Facebook algorithms, if you post right now and you post again in an hour, the post you did right now is pretty much non-existent. Most people aren't going to your actual profile and scrolling, except for maybe like your mom or grandma, because they love you. Instagram, if you want to post 1, 2, 3, 10 times a day, you can boom, 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 and walk away from it. The thing with Instagram, though, commenting, replying to comments is still really important. So if you are posting 2 or 3 things a day, make sure you have the capability to go and reply to these things. But I'm 1 a day. That's what I teach. That's pretty much, people can be consistent with that, right? Maybe you get up when you're having your morning coffee, that's when you do your post for the day, and then you can be done. And then if you've got life and jobs and things like that, just go back when you have some time and reply to those comments. You don't have to be Johnny on the spot with any of it. As far as like your stories in Facebook and Instagram go, there's not really any algorithm. They disappear after 24 hours. And we're not going to get on the tech side of things. If you guys want to learn more about that, my inbox is always open on social media. But you can post 10 stories in a row and then walk away from it, right? You can do 3. There's not really a limit. Some people tell you don't do more than 5. I don't believe that. I would say don't do more than like 30. Because if I pull up your social media and I go to look at your stories and there's like 200 lines, I'm swiping. I don't have, we have the mental capacity of like a goldfish. It's like 8 seconds, might be less than that these days. So just be mindful of that. But on your Instagram and your Facebook stories, the biggest thing is to tell a story. Share a story. Don't just post like a picture of this, like I'm at a leader event, and then here's my Subway. Like, where are we going with this, right? So try to tell the story. And we're not going to really get into a ton about stories, but I just wanted to throw that in there. So this is the question I get a lot. Well, I don't know what to post. Here you go. You guys, if you're here, you should have a picture of this room and sharing that you're here. You're here learning, you're growing. People are attracted to that. Most people in our world, this is normal, right? I mean, Paula was just saying she's going to this life surge. I'm like, oh, I forgot that was coming up. I want to go to that. And she's like, yeah, I love things like that. That's our normal. But majority of people outside of this room, they're not growing every day. And so they attract to that. They want to know, like, how do I grow more? So when you learn, when you grow, when you win, when you lose. When you lose, listen, if you and your spouse just got in a knockdown, drag-out fight, because none of us do that, right? Don't post it on social media. No one cares. Actually, they all care. They really want to care. No one cares. But when you learn from that lose, that's when you can post about that, especially if it's part of your brand, right? If you're doing like parenting or marriage or things like that, or relationships, share that. Because your friends, your network have the same fights that you do with their spouse. And so when they can learn from you, they're going to be attracted to that. And they're going to think you're human, right? I share that all the time. People are like, you and your husband, you don't ever get in fights. I'm like, let me tell you what. We all do. So be vulnerable when it comes to things like that. Again, I mentioned, are you interesting? Some people will tell me, like, oh, I don't have anything going on in my life. I had a girl that told me she had nothing going on in her life. She wasn't interesting. And then I found out she was a former professional ice skater. And I was like, what? Come again? We all have things going on in our lives. We just undermine them, right? We think we're not important, or we think that what we've got going on no one would care about. They do. They want to know what you have going on. But if you feel that way, well, here's some things that you can do to get more interesting, right? You attract what you are, so you've got to start to become that. If I have someone that comes to me and they're like, well, I don't like social media because it's just negative. Guess what question I ask them next? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you putting out? Because you're attracting all that back to you. So if all you're seeing on your social media is negativity, what are you watching? Like I'm very protective of what comes into my filter. That's also why I'm very protective of who I connect with on social media. Because I don't want to see a lot of crap. Like my husband listens, and I won't even say who it is. He listens to this podcast, and it's great. The content is great. The message is great. The man says the F word every other word, and I can't do it. And so I had to say, I don't care what you listen to, but when we're together, I can't do it anymore. I have to protect what goes in here because that's what I'm putting out. It's the same thing for you. The more value you put in, the more value you can give out. So what are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you watching? Right? Be very, very protective, especially on Reels. So easy to just get sucked in, and they're not all positive. They're not all great. They're funny, but you've got to be really protective of that. So where is your greatest return of investment? Meaning, how are you going to make your money? How are you going to get that to come back, right? You need to be thinking about these questions as you're building your content. What do you love to study, and what do you want to be known for? The really cool thing about social media is you pretty much get to be whoever you want to be, right? I've reinvented my brand on Instagram more times than I would like because I'm just figuring it out. I was doing social media specifically for network marketers. That's pretty niche down, right? You guys, it was exhausting me. The people I were getting, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So be mindful of that too, and it's okay to say, like, this isn't it. I don't want to do this. This isn't my passion. Mine now, like, nutrition lights me up, especially moving into this pregnancy space and finding out how much information is not out there or misinformation is out there. So it lights me up and it's exciting, but I have to be studying this. Like, I've got to go down the rabbit hole. I've got to learn all of this because otherwise I'm not going to be able to truthfully give out the value that's needed. If you are struggling with this, right, if all else fails, become the blank person. Become the real estate person because that's what you're already into. So it'd be really easy for you just to go all in on that. But you don't have to be, your personal brand doesn't have to fully line up with what your business is, right? So yes, I offer nutrition and coaching and things like that, but really my main thing is my network marketing business. If your passion is, I have a friend who is really into holistic dog health. She had a dog that became injured, and she just went down that rabbit hole and learned how to really change things around. Now she offers that, but she doesn't want to coach people in that method. She has some freebies, she has some things, but she also has an offering in her business that makes her money that lines up with those types of people. So now she can build the following because of the value she's putting out, and then easily transition to, hey, I have this product, or hey, I have this service, right? So again, with real estate, I go back to real estate. I also have my license in Florida. I love real estate, but it's really just who you are. When they like you and they're attracted to you and they want what you have or what you offer, you can easily say, hey, by the way, I also do this, or I also have this. So become the expert in that field. So you want to vary up what you're doing, right? Don't just post all about one topic. This is where the multifaceted gets to come into play, especially on social or on Facebook, right? If all I ever posted about was my dogs, and I could, people would like it for sure, but they would get annoyed. They would be like, okay, is this all she's got going on? We had a friend who, this was real life, not social media, but when we would get together, he would only talk about one topic. And it just got old. It's like, do you have nothing else going on? I mean, and I know he did. He had a kid, he had a great job, he had all these things, and it's like, what else is there? So don't be that way on social media too, right? And this is where when you have a product, if you're only posting that product, people are gonna tune you out. Because again, they don't really care about the product. They wanna know why that product's gonna help them, or they wanna know how you're gonna help them. So vary it up. Value. You guys should be giving 80% value, 20%, this is what I have. Buy from me, join me, whatever it is. And then again, visual. People are so inundated with social media, like you've gotta, I don't wanna say like, I'm not saying to go and filter everything, please don't use filters. But make it eye appealing. If you're doing video, make sure that the sound is good, the lighting is good. Because if I can't hear you or understand you, my brain is like, I can't do it anymore, I'm out. And that's how everyone is, because we are inundated on social media. So a couple systems that you guys can implement. This is kind of the content curation. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 just makes it really easy to remember. You can adopt this however you want, right? If this is too much, dial it back. If you're like, no, I'm going to 10x this, go for it. But 5 FAMs, and what FAMs mean is find, add, message. So you're finding new people, you're connecting with them by adding them, and then you're gonna message them. Don't just add someone on social media and then don't message them. It's like the creepy neighbor that just peeks over the fence, never talks to you, but you know they're watching. Don't do that. If you add me and don't message me, I will message you, because I'm like, why? Why are we connecting? Who are you? How are we gonna, how can we benefit each other? When you do message them, you wanna answer a couple of questions. Who are you? What do you want? And why are you adding me? So if you can knock those 3 questions out immediately, their walls are gonna come down a little bit more. Because we all have a wall up when it comes to social media. When I started building my network marketing business and having success, I'd have people come to me and say, well, I wanna build on social media like you did because it's easier. It's actually way harder, because people are keyboard warriors and they can hide behind their screen, and they're not nice. They're not, I mean, social media is rough. I just posted in a chat, which is Chatter group, if you guys go in there, those are fun. But I posted our business on Monday, I believe, and we're not open on Mondays, but we decided, hey, it's beautiful out. If people wanna come in, my husband will be in. We posted the outside, we had built like a little patio, and someone commented, too funny. And I was like, I don't really know what's funny about this. So I said, funny, ? And she says, well, it's not really a patio, it's a cement block. I'm like, that's what we're gonna comment on. And I just laughed. I was like, well, it's gorgeous inside. I hope you'll check it out one day. But that's social media. So it's not easier, but it can be faster. You get in front of a lot more people in a quicker methodology. 4 stories on Instagram and Facebook. You can do more. This is just kind of that minimum. You can do less. Again, what works for you? What can you stay consistent with? I said 3 people to a tool. And what that means, it depends on your business, right? For if you were to create that shareable that I mentioned, it might just be getting that out. Hey, listen, I don't know if you're in the market to sell your house. If you ever are, I created this to help you to prepare. Or if you know anyone that is, feel free to send it on. Get 3 people to that a day. You're giving them value. You're giving them something for free. What your tool is, I don't know. If you don't have one, I would recommend making something. Again, go to Canva. It's so easy. You can just input information. I built an entire ebook on Canva. I'm not a writer. I'm not, but it was fairly simple because I had a template to guide me. 2 posts a day. Again, I already kind of talked about this. I would say 1 bare minimum. If you can get away with 1 Instagram, 1 Facebook, that's perfect. And then I mentioned 1 personal development. This has nothing to do with social media, but yet it has everything to do with social media. Because if you're not growing, you can't put value out, right? Again, value in, value out. So last audit for you guys is, how many Facebook friends do you have? And this isn't about high school popularity, I'm gonna be the homecoming queen. It's truly about how many you're growing and networking and connecting with. You get 5,000. I wouldn't recommend maxing out because you want to save space for people, but you do need to audit your friends. I actually, in this, it may be morbid, but my methodology is on birthdays. I go and wish everyone a happy birthday. If I messaged you a year ago on your birthday and you never replied, we're probably not going to be Facebook friends anymore, right? Or I'm going to kind of say like, okay, who is this person, or why are we friends? Is it worth staying connected? But audit them, add new daily, and then recycle. Save space. Unfortunately, I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg will ever give us more than 5,000 Facebook friends, but right now it's where we're at. But again, this is why having a public profile is important, because people can follow you. They don't have to be your friend necessarily. Finding new friends, these are the ways that I would recommend doing that, and this is really important to do. And I'll give you one more system to really grow your network through Facebook groups. But go get in these groups of things that you like, things that you're passionate about. Again, this is where the multifaceted comes in, because maybe your personal brand has nothing to do with French Bulldogs. Like my brand does not have anything to do with my dogs, but I'm in all those groups. And guess what? When I easily connect with them because we have the mutual obsession of our dog, it's a lot easier to have a conversation and segue into, I also offer this. I also have this. They're going to connect with you a lot faster. Facebook pages sounds kind of strange, but it's a really good way to connect with people. If they're also like a page that you like, you probably have a lot of things in common. Mutual friends is one of the easiest ways. It's very easy for me to say, hey, how do you know Stacia? And now we can get into a conversation a lot faster. The funny thing with social media is I get that question, how do you know Stacia? I'm like, I have no idea. we're just connected on Facebook somehow. And then who do you know, right? Facebook has a search bar. You can actually just write in, who do I know? And it'll suggest people for you. Still do a little bit of recon, right? Go to their profile, make sure it's someone you actually want to connect with. And then lastly, again, that find ad message. You're going to knock down these 3 walls. You're going to send them a quick message. Hey, I see you know Susie. How do you guys know each other? Hey, I found you in this group. You look like we have the same things in common. Ask a question. Get them to answer you so you can get into conversation. I'll wait till a picture. And then the last thing I'll leave you guys with, this is a newer system that was introduced to me, but I will tell you it works. So if you're building your network, and you should be, go into groups. I would recommend 1 or 2, because this can be a little bit time consuming. Find 1 or 2 groups that you are passionate about. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to do anything with your business if you don't want it to. But what are you passionate about? Go into that group, introduce yourself first and foremost. Put a nice picture of yourself. Write about who you are, why you joined this group, why you're excited for this group, what you hope to bring to the group, because it can't be about you, it has to be about them. That'll make you stand out. No one's doing that right now in Facebook groups. And then you're gonna follow the 2x3x10 plan. So 2 times a week, you're gonna post in this group. Let's just say Tuesdays and Fridays. On Tuesday, you're gonna post value. So if it's a French Bulldog group, I might go in and post something about the type of food that I get for my dog and why I think that it's important for them to know about it. On Friday, and Friday is the important day, you can mix up Tuesday, you can pick whatever day, but Friday, you're gonna go in, you're just gonna ask a question. Use one of those colored backgrounds on Facebook. Simple, short question. Doesn't really matter what it is. But the reason that you do it on Friday is because social media tends to slow down a little bit on the weekend. So you're gonna stand out. Your post is gonna stay up at the top of that group throughout the weekend as people answer and comment. The idea and the goal here is to then get connected with people outside of these groups. The three times a week, you're gonna go in that group and you're just gonna add value. Set a timer for 5 minutes, right? Don't get bogged down like, oh, I did nothing today but comment in this group. 5 minutes, go and add actual value though. Not, hey girl, you look so pretty. I mean, that sounds good, it feels good, but it's not value. And then that's where the 10 comes in. So 2 groups, 5 minutes, 3 times a week. 2x3x10, it seems like a lot until you start to implement it. It really doesn't take much of your time, but the amount of connections you will make, because these are like-minded people of things you're both passionate about, will build your network super, super fast. So that is it, you guys. I know, like I said in the beginning, it's a lot. And you're not going to implement these things immediately, but I hope you can at least take one or two and start to add them to your social media. I do have an ebook. I mentioned that I built on Canva. So if you want to dig in deeper, it goes a lot more into personal branding. You can find me on Facebook, just Erika Dale with a K. I think I'm the only one. But I can send you that link. And then anytime you have questions, my inbox is open. This is stuff I've built for 8 years. I love it. But I also understand it's not super simple. So I know we're kind of right at time. If we have questions, or do you want to just wrap up? Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to connect, like, are we doing this on our personal profile, business, and then how do you know what I'm trying to ask?
Yes. So personal for Facebook.
I figured that.
What I do is my Instagram
Yes.
and my Facebook page are linked.
Okay, yeah.
Knocks down one thing. Because Instagram is all branding,
Yep.
that's totally fine. And your Facebook page should just be all business. So they're kind of similar.
Yep.
But your personal profile should be all about you, lifestyle. Yeah.
And then once you're in the messenger and you've built that relationship, then it's kind of like, I also do this.
Yep,
And
exactly.
then- okay, got
Yeah.
it. But your business content looks very different than your personal.
It should. And at the end of the day, if it's so much, you guys, just do one.
Okay.
Right? And that's why mine are linked. My Instagram and my Facebook page are linked, because it's too much. It's so much. But at least I have those platforms open and available for people to find me.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, how do you think AI is playing a role
Oof.
in social media, like ChatGPT and whatnot? I found it to be helpful, but
Yeah.
it also feels like maybe a little bit too clinical in marketing terms.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
It's an awesome resource. Again, it's another learning curve, so you are going to have to figure it out. But there's good and bad. I think the bad is just what you said, the clinical. There are words that AI uses, and if you start to read posts, you're like, oh, they always use that word. Why do 200 businesses always use that word? Because they're all using AI, which is not a bad thing. But I would just really read what you're doing with AI and change it up. Make sure it really sounds like you. But for the resource that it provides, I think it's a fantastic tool. Yeah.
I have a question about Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Say you have like a 10-year-old personal Instagram account.
Yeah.
Do you convert that to a business account or just create a new business account?
I would just stick, as long as your following will probably be the same type of audience you want, I wouldn't start new. I would just transition over. And just know, like, you may lose some because you're now putting out things that they're kind of like, wait, what is this again? But if they already know you personally, they'll probably stick around. Yeah. Yep.
I got a question. I never had Instagram, but I love Facebook. And my husband likes TikTok. And my kids, they like all of them. And I'm like, okay, so if you had to pick 3, which I don't want more than 3 on my phone, which one do you like recommend?
If I had to pick 3,
Yes.
those 3. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Okay.
But you guys, again, don't go. You can go to my TikTok. Couldn't tell you the last time I posted.
Yeah.
It's more of just like, for me, it's when people send the videos and I'm like, oh, I can watch this because I have an account. But if you want to go all in on TikTok and not these other 2, just go learn it. Go learn what it wants. You can go crazy on that. I mean, I know people doing millions in sales just using TikTok. But it's just really what speaks to you and what are you going to stay consistent with. Yeah.
So as you grow your networking group like Facebook, and you know the algorithms, how do you see all those, because you have to scroll for days to see, I mean, Instagram will tell you when somebody puts a new posting, but you don't on Facebook.
So I personally don't scroll. I just don't have the capacity to sit and look. But what you can do on Facebook, again, there's so many valuable things. They have what's called, you can go, like if you and I connect and you eventually want to prospect me, you want to get me, whatever it is you have, you can go and edit our friendship and you can click, I think it's called see first or favorite. They've changed it 400 times. You can make, I think, up to 50 people your favorite. And every time they post, you will get notified. So now you can stay on top and be in front of that person every single time they make a content, and then they have no idea. So it's like, man, she's really involved in what I've got going on. So that's a little cheat for you.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have a quick question. I have more of a downsizing and decluttering business.
Yeah.
But I have a friend who keeps telling me that I need to start posting stuff on LinkedIn. What's on LinkedIn? Do you do anything there? Or just, I do Facebook
I
but-
personally, and I know people love LinkedIn, I hate LinkedIn. Mainly because every time I connect with someone, they have the automated, like I know all the systems. I bought into them at one point, I just never used them. It just, to me, it doesn't feel natural. It feels just like, but for business, and my husband, he just posts the same thing on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. He doesn't follow all the rules. But I think if you can't create 4 different types of content, post what you're posting on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's not exactly accurate, but who cares? At least you're on there. So if someone can find you, they're going to find you. But yeah, I mean, I think for you, not to tell you like how to run your business, but I would really dig into Reels and the before and afters of what you're doing with the decluttering. Like people, the number one reel that's watched right now is pressure washing. Like people find it so satisfying. And it's the same thing with before and afters, and going from the clutter to declutter. People love that. So you'll probably have some viral content just doing that.
Pictures of before and after, but
Yep.
don't know how to do the reels.
Yeah.
I just have to.
A good resource for Reels, if you want to dig in, is his name's Brian Fryer.
Okay.
He's in the network marketing space, but he pretty much just coaches social media and Reels specifically. I believe he has a free course you can take just to kind of learn the back end of Reels. Yep.
And because I don't know how people, when they're doing it, say they're decluttering a closet and they speed it up and it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn that. But
Google. Or YouTube. The last thing I'll say too, I posted a reel one time of like cleaning out a closet, and I just this was before I knew how to do Reels or what to do on Reels, and it went viral. I'm like, what? People were re-watching it because they were waiting for the after, and I never posted it. So all they saw was my dirty closet. I'm like, oh, that's cool. A message, and when you type a certain word, it'll generate that whole message. So you could do that.
5.
Ooh, 5. Let me do 5 all at once?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got it.
3, 4, 5.
All right. So if you are here, okay. If you are here, 845-2497. Okay. You get a book. All right. This is a book from Jesse Pearson here. You will get hacked. That's the message from the IT department, right? So staying safe in your business. All right, next one, 845-2548. Bridget. Oh, okay. All right. 845-2500. 2500. 2500. 845-2511. Yay! Stacy. All right. 845-2503. Yay! All right. 2 more.
2 more?
Did you find it? Okay.
That one has a name on it.
845-2543. Yay! All right. And then 845-2502. Okay. All right. And this one is drawing for. So this one, we have a podcast on everyday leaders, everyday business leaders. This is a drawing for a 30-second advertisement for your business.
That's fun.
845-2499. Yay! Is that yours? 2499. Yay! All right, so let's get together. All right, ladies, Did you have fun today? All right. Thank you, Erika.
You're welcome.
This was
Thank you.
awesome. Just for information, go to topfloorwomen.org to look for next month. Now, there's a surprise. Next month, and if you want to connect to Erika, you can go down to the very bottom, and it has all the previous speakers and all their contact information, so you can connect to her right there. Next month, we have a very special guest. She's coming into town. She is a champion walk-on from Purdue University in the throw with the ball. You know, I get shot put maybe. I forget what it is. She was raised in Gary. All right, her story is amazing. She became a champion athlete. She now has a company called Champion Mindset. She spoke at my very first event back in 2019. She is an incredible woman. She's a minister. She is got so much energy. She lives in South Carolina, but she's going to be in town. So she said, I've got a new book, and I would love to come and speak to your group. So Toyanda Smith is her name. You can follow her. I'm going to start posting stuff about her on social media, but she is an amazing ball of energy, and you want to meet her. She is wonderful. So come back. It is April, what's the first Wednesday? April 3rd, I think. April 7th? 7th? April the 3rd. Okay, April the 3rd. Same place, same time. Bring a friend. We will squeeze you in. We'll take the tables out and put more chairs in if we need to. Thank you guys for coming so much today. And remember to follow us, share topfloorwomen.org. And